If you're a PC user, then welcome, you've come to the right place. If you're a Mac user, then this video is not for you. You belong in the next one. Go over there. All right, PC people. Now look, my first job out of college was working for IBM, the PC company. And so PCs are in my roots. So you are my people. So let's get to working on setting up your environment, and it's going to be easy, I hope. We're going to start by one more time going to the GitHub repo, github.com/ed-donner/LLM engineering, linked all over the place. And the main reason I show it to you is that if you scroll down, you'll see the contents of the README, and that includes links to the setup instructions for you. And that's where you should go for the detailed walkthrough of everything we're going to do. And the setup instructions are the best. That's the best place to go. You can watch what I do to give you a feel for the different screens, but the instructions will take you through things step by step, and we'll show you what could happen and have troubleshooting tips and so on. For PCs in particular, there are a few gotchas that are well known. And at the very top of the setup PC instructions, I have these gotchas with ways to check that you don't have this problem and how to fix them, such as having VPNs running, such as something called the Windows 260 character limit, which is really nasty. But there are the ways to test to see whether you have that, and if so, exactly how to fix it. So please do take a look at that. And then when you're ready, let's get started with your environment. And so here we go. You start by going to the Start menu, and up here, you type PowerShell to bring up what's called a PowerShell, the command prompt that we already did with Ollama. Now, one thing to notice here, you can just click on PowerShell to start the PowerShell. You can also right click and say Run as Administrator, which gives you extra powers when you run it. If you ever have issues that you don't have permissions to do something, the first thing to try is to come in and run it as administrator to see if that gets around the problem. So that's worth knowing. All right, but with that, we will open up a PowerShell. This is what it looks like. And the first thing that I want you to do is type the word Git, G-I-T, and enter, and see whether you get something like this. And that would tell you whether or not Git is installed on your computer. Now, if you're not sure of the difference between Git and GitHub, they sound very similar. They're not the same thing. If you're not sure, then in the repo, there is a folder called Guides. If you go into Guides, are some great sets of tutorials on different foundational topics. And one of them will explain to you what's Git, what's GitHub, what's the difference, and so on. Please do review it. But let's say that you do know, and you've come here, and if you did not get this report, so you don't have Git installed, then follow the instructions in the README. But basically, you go to a browser. This is in the setup guide. You go to this website, and you can use this to download Git for Windows and then have it installed on your computer. So follow these instructions, install it, run it locally, and then when you come back here, you might need to restart your computer afterwards, or at least open a new PowerShell. But once you've done that, you should be able to type Git and see this command, and we're off to a fine start. Now, if you're not familiar with using the command line, if you don't know the basics of this, then please go and look in the guides folder again in the repo and read the guide on using the command line, just to make sure you're comfortable with the basics, with the difference between files and folders and directories, stuff like that. So that the next few steps will make some sense to you. It's not important to be an expert, but at least know the foundations. Okay, so I'm going to clear this screen. Where we are right now, you can see we're in the C drive in my home directory, users ed. And it's very typical in these things to have a subdirectory that you create called projects, which is where all of your projects belong. You might already have that, in which case you can type cd projects to change into that directory. But I don't. I haven't got one yet. I've only got my home directory. And so what I need to do is create a projects directory. So I'm going to type mkdir, make a directory called projects. There we go. It's been made. I'm still in C users ed, my home directory. So I type cd projects to go into this new directory. And if I look at it, ls looks at the contents, it's empty. It's a new directory. It's in C users ed projects. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is an epically famous thing to do. It's called cloning a repo. And it's a command git clone, which takes a copy of someone's repo, in this case my repo, and puts it locally on your computer. And that's what we're going to do. And we're going to put it right here in the projects directory. So if I go back to the browser. I'm now going to go back to GitHub. Hopefully you're comfortable with the difference between GitHub and Git. I'm going to go to the LLM engineering repo. So we're at github.com/ed-donna/LLM engineering. And there's this green button here which says code on it. If I hover over this, make sure that HTTPS is selected here. And this is the clone window. And I'm going to press that little copy URL to clipboard right here. And that is copying the URL of this repository into my clipboard. I can now go back here, back to my command line, and I'm going to type the command, which is going to do everything. I'm going to type git clone, and then I'm going to paste in that URL right there. And when I press enter, bam, it's going to take a few seconds, but it's now pulling the entire repository and bringing it here locally. And if I now do an ls to list the contents of C users ed projects, you can see that there is a C users ed projects LLM engineering. Okay, that's exciting. So now we do cd LLM engineering to go into this directory, see what's here. We do ls, and there it is. We have the contents of our own repo. We've got it locally on our computer. We're ready to go. Okay, we're still in step one of the instructions. It's still step one, but step one is a juicy one. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to install Cursor, which is a development environment, which is very popular because it uses AI to help fill in your code. And it's at cursor.com, spelled just like that, cursor.com. And of course, it's linked in the in the repo. And it's the best way to code with AI, it claims. We'll be the judges of that. And by the way, Cursor has a free 2-week trial, and then it is a paid plan, at least as of today. But you don't need to pay for it if you don't want to. You can keep using it as an IDE, as development environment, paying for it or not, up to you. You don't need to take advantage of the AI autocomplete feature. Also, if you prefer working with VS Code, Cursor is basically the same thing. It's a fork of VS Code. So you can use either for sure. And you can use any IDE that you like. You can use Windsurf, you can use PyCharm, whatever you like using. But you're going to press the download for Windows button, of course. It's going to download it. You're then going to run that installer. There's a few things for you to accept. You have to set up an account. You have to agree to something. And then once you've gone through all of those different screens, you should be ready to open up Cursor. Okay, so we now go to the Start menu and we choose Cursor. And type in Cursor. It may also be an icon on your desktop, and then you can click on it to launch it. And Cursor should come up like this. The first time it might ask you a few questions, but once it's all installed and ready, it should look something like this, but maybe without the things right here. If it doesn't look like this, then you can go to File and choose New Window, and then you should see it looking like this. And the first thing to do is to press Open Project. Now, a project in Cursor is an important concept. It's the folder, the highest level directory that contains all of your work. In our case, it's called LLM engineering. That is also known as our project root. That's what you sometimes call that. And so we want to open that folder. And it's important to get this right, because if you open the wrong folder, things are really confusing in Cursor. So get this right. So where is it? Well, it's basically, it's on our C drive. For me, it's in Users, Ed, and then it's in my projects folder. So I find projects, and there is LLM engineering. And I double click on that. So I'm now looking at the contents of LLM engineering. And then I press select folder to mean this is our project root. This is where we're going to be. And it opens up, and you can see 8 weeks of folders on the left. You can see the word LLM engineering in block capitals on the top left. And that is your sign that you've got the right project open. This block capitals here telling you you've got the right project. You're in Cursor. LLM is open. LLM engineering is open. Congratulations. We are actually ready to work on this project. Okay. And with that completes step one of the setup instructions. And I have good news. Step one is the only step that is PC dependent. The rest of the steps will be for both PC and Mac. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put you on hold. The next video is going to be for the Mac people. And then when we reconvene, we'll be able to finish everything off with the rest of the steps together. All right. So I'll see you in one video from this one.